Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and we're ready to start a new series. And this is going to be a fast and moving, quick moving series here. And I'm going to go ahead and call this 10 degrees off the starboard side. We're set up, the head's at 10 degrees angle, and we're coming down. This is the stern, and we're going to be heading off to the bow. So we're going to be taking 10 degrees off the starboard side. Now, what I'm actually cutting on now is actually a couple components that is going to create a part. All right, this is an example of a part when nothing happens, and this is an example of a part when something happens. So we're going to go ahead and make two new parts that look like nothing happened, and that's kind of where we're at. So I'm going to fire this thing up, and we're going to bring you in for some good close action. I'm doing this in one single passes, and I've already made a pass down two sides of this one here, and we have a second side to go ahead and do the same thing too. These are actually a curved strut blade, and I'm just using straight angles, but I'm going to be giving it somewhat of the same water flow and ease of cutting through the water at the speed that I can go ahead and produce these replacements so that this boat can get back into the water. Okay, here's an end view where I've taken some Sharpum and coated this end, and then I laid out about 1/8 of an inch here and 1/8 of an inch here, and this is almost a 1/4 inch here landing in the middle here, and then I straight line from there. I went ahead and took a bevel protractor, and that's how I came. It was so close to 10 degrees, I just said, hey, let's make it a 10 degrees, and that's where we're cutting them at. So here we go. And I'm not really running flood coolant on this because I don't want to fly it all over, and it seems to be, this insert really does cut nice, and I'm just putting a light coating here on the part. I'm cutting at 2 1/8 inches a minute, and we're spinning it at 660 RPMs. And here we go. We're getting a pretty good amount of chips that are flying off of this. They're piling up on the floor. Some of them are coming in on the backside here. But the main thing is this is not clogging up or galling. It doesn't take much of the Alumatap is what I put on there. I've got my doors open and there's good ventilation in here, so I'm not huffing the Matic there. It is leaving a pretty good finish on the trailing edge there. I think I am a little light on my my depth there. I might have rose it up after my last cut there. I will be checking that out. Okay, I backed it up, and yeah, my vertical was 25 thousandths off. I brought it up to 0, and now the length of the flat matches part for part. So when we catch up to here, we will be back to our full cut, one cut deal on each quarter of these aluminum plates here. Yes, this strut is aluminum. This is a freshwater or lake boat, And the original design was aluminum struts, aluminum rudder, aluminum hull. Okay, we're about a 1/4 inch away from coming in. Full cut. There we go. This cutter's nice because it has, I forget if it has 6 or 8 inserts on it. It gets a lot of contact, a lot of surface area, so you don't hear a lot of skipping. It's pretty uniform with it. And I think also that's why it cuts through this aluminum without galling up. Okay, we're just going to get down to some hogging, and we're going to get this material down, and we'll bring you back in when we start picking up the 2 angle cuts on the back side. The other side, we're doing 2 on each side here, and then we're going to be flipping the part over and holding them, and we're going to be cutting the angle on the other side. Okay, we're coming down to the last side of the first set. So we got one more side to do on this one here, so all of them are doubled except for this one here, and I'm changing this over so that you get to see the setup. All right, now I got to clean up all the chips here so I can loosen it up and turn it around. That's good. All right, so we break loose our clamps here. And we just wipe off the bottom of this because we don't want to have any chips sitting underneath it. Just like when we do the first side. Nice and clean. We line it up with our mark here on the table. Okay, now we're not going to clamp directly on this surface here. We're actually going to take a couple pieces of aluminum here. These are my same spacers that I use in for my jaws, the 4 jaws on the lathe. So I lift them up and I put this underneath the clamp, the toe of the clamp. Same thing over here. Now the reason why I use these, not just for not putting marks in there, but hard material digs into soft material and then has a minute amount of grip. By putting a soft pad in between the soft material and the hard one, you broaden your grip on your actual part there, and it actually, like sticky fingers, really holds the part in there. You know, in reality this cutter is spinning clockwise and I'm coming from this direction here, so it's actually pulling the part that way if you're going by tool pressure in the direction of the cutter. Alright, and we're back in action here, and bring it back down to 0, and here we go. Okay, we got that same 1/4 inch up here at the top. So we're matching all of our other parts. All right, we're going to let that one run across there, and then we're going to bring you in for our actual changeover where we're going to be putting this side down. Okay, we just went in and deburred this just like we did all the rest of them, so we're ready to set up in here. All right, now we need to put this side up. How are we going to hold that? Well, we're going to hold it the same way that we held the other tapered side, and we're going to hold it against our stops here, and we're going to move our clamp in here. And we are going to hold it down like this. We're going to bring in this other one here. Okay. Okay, now if we cut this with that angle there, we're going to be compounding the angle that we've already created. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hold these at the angle, and we're going to put our head back straight. So I got to get my socket here, and I'm going to move you back so you can watch actually how this is you know, your regular box wrench won't fit on this. This is 1 1/16" here, and it doesn't quite get in there and everything else. So I'm going to show you what I actually use that actually works for me, gets in here, gets the job done. And we're going to go ahead and switch this from 10 back to 0, and then we'll go in here and we'll set our width that we're going to be cutting to, come down, touch off, work our way down till we get that width, and then buzz across the final sides on all of these parts. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fire this up because we need to drop it down some. All right, now I like to use, I have this really thin wall Craftsman 1 1/16" socket, and it fits right in here. And the breaker bar actually gives you a lot of leverage out here. Now I'm going to move this back to 0, and I'm not going to bother dialing this in yet. But if I was to dial it in, I would go ahead and put an indicator here, and then I would touch a flat here and touch a flat over here just to eyeball it. And then if I wanted it even closer than that, I would go ahead and put an indicator on here, free spin it, and I would go ahead and dial it in on this face. But for right now, we're just making single cut plane. I like the way we're cutting. I like the finish we got, and by eyeball, this is going to be close enough for these open to the water surfaces that we're creating here. Okay, and that's how I tighten up my universal head in this rotation here, and I use the box wrench in on these 4 bolts here. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to vacuum up some of these chips back here. Just any time that I've been cutting for a while, and I want to make sure that that's clean back there, and just give it another little coat of oil. I have nice wipers on here, but I just really like to keep that fresh back there. All right. Now we're just going to do the same thing before, kind of hover over our part here. Okay, we're just going to we're going to measure in like 1/400. So what we're doing, we're going to go ahead and come up here and touch. We're coming in, we're feeling our part, we're actually seeing if it's going to move or anything. And also while we're at it here, we're going to loosen up our dial because we're going to have a new zero, a new reference. Okay, let's see what we got on that link there, and see we're about 50,000 shy, and we're reading 1/400 right there right now. All right, I like that. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna leave it right set right there, and that's gonna be our zero. We set zero here now. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of Alumatap. And I'm just going to be putting my hand on here, and we're going to test a couple bumps here. That's good. We're going to pull it back towards us a little bit. We're only going to use what we need on our cutter. Let the overhang be a minimum towards our clamps. Okay, I'll bring you in close now. Maybe just a little bit shy of 1/400, but we're gonna make a cut here all the way across, and we're gonna take a look at it from end to end, making sure that we're parallel and everything else is kosher. Looks just a little wider than 1/8 of an inch over here on the side here. We'll be taking a measurement on that as well. All right, we'll bring you back in when we get done with this cut. I'm liking that. We just took our tool and came down and took that burr off, and burr was hanging out and it was looking a little bit large, but we might be 5/1000ths over 1/400, which is cool. That's close enough. All right, so we're gonna run the vacuum here. And we're going to grab this tip, and we're going to get this thing turned over for the last side. Hey, let's go ahead and let's break her loose here. All right, and the last surface up. Now these are pretty low here, but I think we're still going to be good with the aluminum helpers here. Okay, let's give it a shot here. Okay. Okay, we're going to have to come up with something that's going to help hold those in. We're just losing too much of a pinch there. All right, we had a little bit of re-rigging here. We went ahead and pulled our trough plate out of the back here. We've taken a 1-inch tool bit that was just shy of a little bit of being tight. So we put a piece of strapping in here. We lightly tapped it down the groove. It gives us a good foot, and we're should be down below our cut height. Okay, and what I'm going to do is we're going to come across here, and we're basically 25 thousandths shy of being full depth, and we're going to go ahead and give this a shot. Same feed rate and everything else. I came in just a touch to make sure that we were above that height there. All right, everything is locked down, and here we go. We'll go across and make sure that we're above our high-speed steel tool bit here, which would surely damage our inserts, and making sure that our setup here, our clamps are tight. This aluminum is jammed up against this stud that we got here. These things are actually floating. They're not really doing anything anymore because we're not holding against them, but they are, when we go to put our plate in there, they do help locate it until these clamps push in tight against the tool bit that's in here. And it looks like we might be able to get it done without too much effort or a special jig. Just about past the tool bit, and we've been staying above it. Looks like it's close there. We may have to tap that down just slightly on here, just because we got another cut to go, about 25 thousandths, and it looks like it is about 20 thousandths below that surface right now, so we definitely don't want that to be skipping. Okay, we made it all the way through. Okay, let's rapid it back. Okay, and yeah, it's a little higher here than it is here. We want to go ahead and tap this down just a little bit here. Okay, I like that. Okay, and we're at 1,300 here now. 1,300, and this is looking like 150. And this other side here looks like about 125. So I think we're good on our dimension there to come down to our 0 where we were. Let's go ahead. Let's go for it. There we go. There's 25. All right. Everything feels solid still. We'll know it if it's not. All right. We're looking right here first to see if that disappears out here somewhere. Yep. It's a tiny bit narrower than we were on our first side, but I think we are a couple thousands deeper, maybe 5 thousandths deeper per side. We're gonna live with that. That's not bad. Our original side here was 250. That might be like 225. We'll see when we get it the cutter out away from it. All right, we're gonna let that run across there for our first full finished part. Okay, we're coming down to the end of this cut, and then we're going to flip this part around, and it'll be the last surface. We have cut the other three 100% complete, and there's the blue layout in, and you can see my scribe lines there, the width, and what we got here on the end. And they've all been coming out really nice. Okay, and what we did here, I'm going to go ahead and vacuum this up. We'll get the chips out of here. I'm going to take a look at this. I mean, when we were grabbing this wasn't bad. This holds pretty good with the aluminum shim underneath on that half angle there. But when we turn it around and we get on that full slope with the full machine, the slick surface there, there's no way of holding it without popping out like a pimple there. So anyway, this tool bit here that we have down inside our water trough, that's a little over 1 inch. I got a 15 thousandths banding strip back here, and I lightly tap this in, and I can tap it. I tapped it at a height where it holds the edge without being in my interrupter or my cut area there. All right, just making sure we don't have any chips on here. Now, instead of holding it back against my pieces there, I let it slide forward against the 1 inch tool bit there. It does take just a little bit more time to get this setup here going. You know, once it come down, these kind of bind up on the stem, then they don't move back any farther, and then they push it forward, and then you're locking against this, and everything is happy after that. See, they come back first, and then they lock up tight. And they're pushing that, and everything is hunky-dory there. All right? Now we go ahead and bring her back up to our 0 here. We touch off. It's got a good sound to it. Then I just give it a little coat of the Alumatap here again, and there we go. This is the very last cut. This is full depth. All right, we're coming down to the end here. Got a pretty good amount of chips on the floor. There we go. All right, all 4 of our strut blades are cut. And now we need the bearing tube and the feet, the square pads that bolt it to the hull. And we'll start whittling on those. All right.